transport system in animals. Happens when you get a cut on your body. So basically, when you get a cut on your body, the first thing that happens is you get wounded and it bleeds out. So blood is the fluid which flows in blood vessels, and it transports substances like your digested food from the small intestine to the other parts of the body. It also carries oxygen from the lungs to the cell of the body, and also it transports waste for removal from the body. So if you learn this one, that your blood is actually carrying oxygen, but it's not just put an end to that, because blood is also can also be the transport system for waste material. So example is that when the girls is having their menstruation, okay, it transport waste through excretion of the blood. So let's go deeper with what is going to happen in our circulatory system. So what are these different parts also that makes it happen? So the fluid part of the blood is what you call as the plasma. And one type of cells are the red blood cells, or shall we say it's called also called as RBC, which contain a red pigment called hemoglobin. So what is this hemoglobin for? Hemoglobin binds with oxygen and transport it to all the parts of the body and ultimately to all the cells. So how will your blood um, do with the oxygen carrying? So mainly it's the hemoglobin who will be binding with oxygen, or which binds with oxygen to do the functions that it do for transporting. So it will be difficult to provide oxygen efficiently to all the cells of the body without hemoglobin. So its presence is also distinct because of the appearance of our blood, as it appears red. So that pigment is what you call as the hemoglobin. So you're searching for things as to the color of your blood. It's actually in a dark red color. So that's the presence of hemoglobin to your blood. So the blood has also white blood cells, or WBC. Okay, it's not the tournament, but it's the white blood cells that is fighting for germs that may enter your body, or shall we say the ones that is not readily present in your body. So mga substances that are not related to the parts also. So mga sa tawag mga alien materials. So when you are wounded, so there will be formation of clot. So that clot is formed because of the presence of another type of cells in the blood called the platelets. So if you get wounded, and then later on, okay, what happens next is that there will be clotting that you now observe as the platelet is caused by the platelets, in which, okay, later dili na siya mag-bleed out, or it stops the bleeding for the wound part in your circulatory system, or what are this particular organ that functions for your circulatory system. So we have the blood vessels. So we have two types of blood vessels. They are the arteries and veins, or veins. So let me have my pointer for my discussion. So arteries carry oxygen-rich blood from the heart to all the parts of the body. Since the blood flow is rapid at a high pressure, the arteries have thick elastic walls. So when I go with the video discussion, or with this video discussion, I will be presenting to you a short video which will tackle, or which will show you, okay, how is the pumping, how these arteries are working for your blood vessels, or for your system, the circulatory system. So mainly the arteries are the ones who carries the oxygen, or the red or oxygen rich blood, and it will also pumps it to the other parts of the body. And then we also have, okay, from with the arteries, actually it started with the veins. So what is the vein? So if you're going to look at this uh, part, So we have the arteries, so at which this part, and then we have the veins. So the pumping goes like this from the veins to the artery. So meaning these veins. So let me just describe the veins. Okay, are the vessels which carry carbon dioxide-rich blood from all parts of the body back to the heart. The veins have thin walls, and there are valves present in veins which allows the blood to flow only towards the heart. So when the veins are not functioning, so the presence of the carbon dioxide rich blood pumps to the going to the artery, so to the artery, and then this carbon dioxide rich blood, so it will now turn into oxygen rich blood, so parang i-transform ito to from carbon dioxide rich blood into oxygen rich blood. So later makita niyo yan with my video that I will be also presenting here. So isa-isahin muna natin yung mga different parts of the or the organs that is present in the circulatory system. So what about, okay, when you see the arteries, it is divided into smaller vessels. On reaching the tissues, they divide further into extremely thin tubes called capillaries. So with my ano kanina, so with that, so the vessels are now carrying those substances, and then they divided further into the thin tubes called capillaries. So capillaries join up to form the veins which empty into the heart. So when we say of the word circulatory system, the first thing that we have in mind is actually the heart. So it's in the heart that is pumping, and then it's now dealing with the oxygenated blood, and then the deoxygenated blood. So, and then with the pumping, so manang moingon ta, ay, heart is part of the circulatory system. Mostly the familiar thing that you have in mind when we talk about circulatory system. So, what's in the heart? Okay, the heart is an organ which beats continuously to act as a pump for the transport of blood, which carries other substances within it. So, with this pumping of heart, so, as you can see, meron siyang mga different parts, mga left ventricle, right ventricle, atrium, aorta, okay, that particular area wherein there is the blood flow, and the blood flows because of the beating. So, okay, or the pumping. So, pag mubit siya, meaning there is a pumping of the heart. So the heart is located in the chest cavity with its lower tip slightly tilted towards the left. And to that particular question, okay, we always keep in mind, kaya no, what if it happens? So originally it doesn't happen, but what if it might happen, di ba? So, okay, the answer to that is, okay, to avoid from that to happen, okay, the heart has four chambers. So these different chambers has its own function for the the blood that is rich in oxygen and the blood which is rich in carbon dioxide could not mix together. So kung mag-mix na siya, syempre the pumping will no longer be in the normal one. So meaning it was organized in an orderly way. Okay, that is syempre we ought to have that one with the creation of God, as it is orderly being organized or being formed orderly. Okay, so thankful for our creator for that. So we have the two chambers that are called the atria, which is singular for atrium, and the two lower chambers are called the ventricles. So with that, there will be uh, no mixing of the carbon and the oxygenated blood, because if that happens, syempre, dili na siya, it cannot do its original function, which is for pumping the oxygen and the oxygenated blood. So meaning there will be dysfunctioning of that, and that may cause something for our body to collapse or maybe ang pressure kay ma-change. So, to understand the functioning of the circulatory system, I have here a short video to show you, okay, the different flow or the flows of the oxygenated blood to the oxygenated blood. Okay, that will be in our short video. So these arrows show the direction of the blood flow from the heart to the lungs and back to the heart, where it is pumped to the rest of the body. So you're still following with my discussion. So with that, let us continue.
Your heart is a pump. It's a muscular organ about the size of your fist and is located slightly left of center in your chest. Your heart is divided into the right and left side. The division protects oxygen-rich blood from mixing with oxygen-poor blood. Together, your heart and blood vessels comprise your cardiovascular system, which circulates blood and oxygen around your body. In fact, your heart pumps about 5 quarts of blood every minute, and it beats about 100,000 times in one day. That's about 35 million times in a year. Oxygen-poor blood, blue blood, returns to the heart after circulating through your body. The right side of the heart, composed of the right atrium and ventricle, collects and pumps the blood to the lungs through the pulmonary arteries. The lungs refresh the blood with a new supply of oxygen, making it turn red. Oxygen-rich blood, red blood, then enters the left side of the heart, composed of the left atrium and ventricle, and is pumped through the aorta to the body to supply tissues with oxygen. 4 valves within your heart keep your blood moving the right way. The tricuspid, mitral, pulmonary, and aortic valves work like gates on a fence. They open only one way and only when pushed on. Each valve opens and closes once per heartbeat, or about once every second. A beating heart contracts and relaxes. Contraction is called systole, and relaxing is called diastole. During systole, your ventricles contract, forcing blood into the vessels going to your lungs and body, much like ketchup being forced out of a squeeze bottle. The right ventricle contracts a little bit before the left ventricle does. Your ventricles then relax during diastole and are filled with blood coming from the upper chambers, the left and right atria. Then the cycle starts over again. Your heart is nourished by blood too. Blood vessels called coronary arteries extend over the surface of your heart and branch into smaller capillaries. Here you can see just the network of blood vessels that feed your heart with oxygen-rich blood. Your heart also has electrical wiring, which keeps it beating. Electrical impulses begin high in the right atrium and travel through specialized pathways to the ventricles, delivering the signal to pump. The conduction system keeps your heart beating in a coordinated and normal rhythm, which in turn keeps blood circulating. The continuous exchange of oxygen-rich blood with oxygen-poor blood is what keeps you alive.
Thus, our video implies that the oxygenated blood goes to transform into oxygenated blood, and which is, okay, it's the functioning of the mga ventricles and the left atrium, and those that is part of the circulatory system that makes it pumping for syempre our need, the body needs, and thus this makes our life easier. And syempre, as our uh, there may be problems with the cardiovascular system, it's also due to our negligence of how we conduct ourselves and for our bodies. So, syempre, we have to take good care of each of the systems. So, particularly our body systems. And one of it is our circulatory system, as it also be the one cause of death. Kay, for example, our heart is more on kay, mag-heart attack, di ba? You have learned that there is heart attacks, mga problems with the heart, more on with the pumping. It's also because of what we eat, and what particular nutrients are able to go inside of ourselves. So we have to also take care of ourselves to what we eat. So for example, mga fatty foods, okay? For those who are for these things that are rich in cholesterol, tapos it can affect our heart, as the adipose tissues will, or the fat tissues will also be present in our heart. So mo na mag-cause na pod og mga different the pumping will not become normal, and that it causes that, so on and so forth. So with that, I'll give to you an importance of how this significant functioning of heart was able to keep us alive. So, ingon pa sa video, that keeps us alive. So, when without that, then might be the sure thing is that we cannot comply with the need of our bodies of oxygen if and only if wala atong circulatory system. So, I hope you will have learned something in our video discussion for this day. And syempre, we still have transport system in animals with the other systems. So keep on watching our video for the next part. So thank you for listening.